out of these three maps, R1 Bravo is the most important map, because though today there is highest concentration of R1 Bravo in Western Europe and in pockets in Central Africa, but there are few pockets in India as well, and most importantly, there is a pocket in the Bengal coast which nobody is discussing. Nobody is discussing how this patch has come. You know, have they come from Western Europe or from European steppe? Then why there is no pocket of good concentration of R1 Bravo anywhere nearby? So nobody is discussing that, how to explain this definite patch of R1 Bravo on Bengal coast, whereas when we think that it originated on the Bengal-Myanmar coast, and when this Bengal-Myanmar coast submerged, obviously a fraction of them would settle here. So that is clearly explained there. So considering that post-glacial period genetic identities, all three of them originated on Bengal-Myanmar coast, is much more logical. But our geneticist has to understand this, explain that, and I am not a geneticist, I am only analyzing available genetic data, because I have explored this subcontinent so thoroughly that all these questions came to my mind, that where pre-glacial period genetic identities have survived and live even today.
And you come up with this logical outcome.
Yes.
And sir,
our genetic, like there are 2-3 issues our geneticists have to explain. One is, rather they have to think if they can establish that. First one is that if we consider that this is the site, that is the Bengal-Myanmar coast is the site of origin of R1 Bravo, then we can easily explain this patch. And if we explain the migration path along the coast initially and thereafter trans-Himalayan, whether that explains every patch which is found in this map. Present day.
Please explain this patch.
Yes, because this is like a jigsaw puzzle. The migration path has to explain each such territory which shows a pocket. Now let me show you the map which actually explains that. Now if the migration starts from east coast of India and follows the east coast and then west coast, then all these patches can easily be explained like and answers that jigsaw puzzle. How did they reach different point? And then we find when it passes through Persian Gulf, one fraction entered this side towards the Arabian territory, and the other fraction entered Indus Valley civilization. And of course, Indus Valley civilization received R1 Bravo from Kailash territory also. So if you actually go into the details of the map I have published in the book India in Egypt.
So the pathway on the Arabian Sea and the Red Sea, there should be some land bridges there, right?
No. This is a continuous path. They are actually migrating along the coast. They are migrating along the coast like they had come from they have followed the path to reach India from Africa. They are following. Now you see the catch. Catch is, here is a patch which is not continuous. So, but when they were passing through Persian Gulf, they can enter this region, and that is why we find a patch here. Then again we find a patch in northern Africa. How is it possible? Because again they followed the coast and they passed through Red Sea this time. And then a branch enters and reaches this Afro-Asian speaking territory of Africa. More importantly, why there is a white patch here in Africa is because one branch reached here, that is Nile Delta, and followed the coast so they could reach these regions. Then why there is a white patch is because they did not continue along this coast. They, from Eastern Mediterranean region, they traveled trans-Mediterranean. This trans-Mediterranean path is a sailing path or a sea path,
Right.
and they reached Crete of Greece, they reached
Right.
Athens of Greece, they reached Rome. That is why you find Roman civilization emerging in southern Italy. You know, not on the side from where they are connected from Europe. And then they actually reached France and Spain, Western Europe. And there, obviously, that is the first genetic identity reached them. That was the only genetic identity available there. They increased in number, and today highest concentration of R1
that
Bravo.
solved the puzzle, I think. That
Yes,
why
of course.
R1 Bravo is dominant in Ireland, the island of Ireland, but
Yes.
they are predominantly a different branch of Indo-European.
Absolutely. Now you see, if they migrated along the coast, they will encircle this and reach UK, that is Ireland, and even probably Ireland derived its names from Arya. Arya land has become Ireland today. Aryans are known as Iran, I mean the territory today. So those names we will discuss later. But that explains why there is a white patch here. I mean, that is, this R1 Bravo did not continuously migrate along the Mediterranean and southern Mediterranean region, and again when this side they approach this patch, so we get a patch of R1 Bravo here. And similarly, this is very important that they pass through Mediterranean region to reach Western Europe straight away. And that is why we find lot of similarity between. Now when we find cultural similarity with India, we find Sanskrit in Ethiopia. Now here is Ethiopia, that can only be explained by migration of R1 Bravo, early migration of R1 Bravo from India to Ethiopia. Similarly, we find lot of similarity with India with France, of India with France, cultural characteristic, even linguistic characteristic. Now that happened because R1 Bravo traveled pretty early.
I mean post-Romanized France.
Yeah, even now the French language.
Pre-Romanized France.
This migration took place 8,000 years ago, 6,000 years. That is why we find lot of stone structures, I mean megalithic structures in France and Spain. You know, so because they went with the skill of stone cutting. You know, they had gone to Göbekli Tepe with the skill of stone cutting, with the idea of animal symbols, with the religious concept. So they were creating only temples and ancestral memorials. Many of the structures here are actually ancestral memorials. They're typical characteristic of Indians. I mean, I'm just claiming that what they constructed in Egypt are essentially temples and ancestral memorials. All your pyramids and all are ancestral memorials. Then let us now, I mean, that is how. You
nicely explained the R1 Bravo.
One thing. Now, if they had migrated along the coast, actually R1 Bravo and O both traveled along the coast. Incidentally, we have discovered lot of ancient settlements, submerged ancient settlements along the coast.
Yes, possible.
Like of course, Kumari Kondam of South India is a concept, but it is a possibility. Then Pumpuhar on the Tamil Nadu coast is we have detected some structures there which were definitely man-made but submerged now, and definitely in the Gulf of Combat cultural complex. And now we are doing lot of studies in submerged Dwarka. So obviously they had passed along the coast, they had developed some settlements which can, I mean, how refined were those settlements, we have to ponder, because whatever they constructed has submerged 10 to 12,000 years ago. But even now, after 12,000 years of submersion, they can be detected as settlements. That is by itself confirms that not only they were definitely not hunter-gatherers. Hunter-gatherers could not create such settlements which is detectable 12,000 years after submersion. Even now we are doing lot of studies in Dwarka region, clearly establishing that thing was there at least 5 to 6,000 years ago, and that had submerged. But you can see that they had created such wonderful structures at that time, which not only has submerged, it's unfathomable how beautiful they were.